Boom, boom. This is Kendra. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. All right, we got a little bit of Azur laying on tap today. So we got a few things to cover, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So we're in a sort of a downtime situation right now. As you know, the Ashen Simulacrum event is coming to an end. The actual sortie portion has already ended, but we've still got a couple of days before the actual limit-breaking portion of the ship. So if you're going for the chat screen right here, you need to complete the limit breaks on all the ships. I'm not going to do it. These are excellent ships, though. So if you're going to do it, this was an excellent one to do it. Excellent ships. One of the best set of ships I've ever seen. One of the best subs in the game. Two top tier battleships. Two epic ships that are very, very good. And then we've got a Sundier for dialogue lines, so we've got some pretty good stuff out here, as well as an awesome chibi effect that comes from Sandwise. So you've got a little bit of everything in here. There's always going to be something in this particular set of ships that will tickle your fancy, as they say. So you definitely, if you the one of ships, I'm not going to complete the event, but I'm going to fully limit break Kavala, and I'm going to fully limit break Baltimore. I'm not going to focus on these. I'll level them up, but I'm not going to waste the mats on them right now. But yeah, but I'm going to definitely, all three of these will be maxed. I've already got her up to 71, so I can do it, but I'm just not going to do it right now. I'm just going to wait. She's not ready to be used quite yet. Baltimore isn't. So that's up. So the sorties have already done this, so just make sure that you actually do get, as I say, the battle ended a couple of days ago, back on the 7th. So that make sure that you complete the Ibuki plan. You've got a few days for that. This is a free 30 blueprints. Even if you're not doing her as a ship, get the blueprints. They'll just sit in your, in your depot until you use them. It's not like they don't. So definitely do it. Just make sure you do your research project so that you can get one. I completed it a long time ago, but I will be working on Ibuki probably in the future. Approaching storm. This you should. You've had ages to complete this. You should have done this by now. Get the nice little piece of equipment. That you can use for your ships, but this is just basic stuff. So that's everything that's going on in terms of that. So we're in a sort of downtime right now. So I've been getting a lot of people DMing me stuff and wanted to know about my priority ships, because I really haven't focused on my priority ships in quite some time. So we'll go ahead and go over my priority ships. I'll try to do them in best of order as how I created them, but I might be one or two off in terms of what I've completed. So the first one I completed was, of course, Monarch. Okay, I made that very clear. She's a season 1 priority ship, one of the best. She's the. To create any priority ship, you have to get faction points. Faction points are obtained by limit-breaking ships of that faction. She's HMS. HMS ships are plentiful early in the game, so you should be able to easily get to the point where you can start breaking Monarch very easily. They make it easy to get to her. She's a season 1 ship. Get her, fully limit break her, max out her skills, fully limit break her equipment, get it all maxed out. Okay, run all the blueprints, do the fate simulation to get that luck, which they don't have. Priority ships do not have luck as an attribute when they are built. You have to do the fate simulation, do it just so you can get some luck. That's really the only weakness they have, and it's not that big of a weakness. But 15 luck helps. All right, she's a good ship, one of the best priority ships that you can build, and she's easily obtainable. Okay, so definitely go for that. The second ship I went for was Rune. I went for Rune second. As I said before, to build a priority ship for a faction, you have to have faction points. Those faction points are obtained by limit-breaking ships of the same faction. At the time, I did the Iron Blood fleet back when I did Rune was very limited. They have since changed that. They've now got Bismarck. They came out with all of the ships to make it an excellent fleet. And the Iron Blood ships comprise the best fleet in the game right now with the most power. You get your runes on the front line. You put Prince Heinrich in there. You can use Rune U in there. She's got a shield. But there's just so many ships that you can use. The backfield, you got Bismarck, a battleship, offers an excellent buff to the fleet. You've got Turpets, and then of course you've got your FDG. That's right, FDG is an Iron Blood ship, so you can apply her to the backfield, making one of the, if not the most powerful backline in terms of battleship in the game. My Operation Siren fleet, when I want to take, as Operation Siren bosses have damage reduction and immunity to certain types. So the ones that have like an immunity or a debuff to air, so you definitely do not want to use carriers. I'll throw my Bismarck, Turpets, FDG in there, annihilate them very fast. So yeah, and then Rune's in the front line for that. She does have a shield. She's an excellent. She does a ton of damage. One thing you notice when you put Rune inside of your fleet is that suddenly she's probably going to be one of your top damage dealers, the MVP a lot of times. If you watch her, set it up on auto and just watch her, she's constantly firing. I mean, she's just constantly shooting, and it just adds up to a ton of damage. So she's definitely an offensive knight, and she's got a shield too, which makes her this armor skill, which makes her very tanky too. She's a tank and a damage dealer. Okay, so you definitely want to go for her. She's priority 1 ship. So since these are PR1 season 1 ships, as the devs have said that they're making blueprints for the season 1 ships easier to obtain. They've already had events for Rune. They had one for Monarch, I believe. They're doing a Buki right now. So they've got so definitely. You want to work on some season 1. Now, I don't know if they'll have those again. My assumption is, I'm hoping they'll open up to season 2, but I have no. If they do open up to season 2, I'll be happy because FDG season 2. If they had a 30 blueprint event for FDG, I would be jumping up and down. But that's the case. So Rune was number 2. Now, number 3, things got a little bit dicey here. At the time, back when first started, I was looking for a little bit more firepower for the backfield in my Eagle Union fleet. So I started focusing on Georgia, okay? But in the end, I did complete Georgia, and she is done, and you should definitely get her because she's a tank. But my Eagle Union fleet with Baltimore is a frontline ship, which does a tremendous amount of damage, and she also offers a buff to all Eagle Union carriers. So I'm going to be running a back Enterprise, and I'm going to have Intrepid and Essex on the flank, and I might substitute Saratoga in for either one of those, who's a light carrier as well. So, and then I'll be running on the front line. I'm going to put San Diego for my anti-air, and then I'm going to put Baltimore, of course. And then my third slot, I'm probably going to end up using Helena for right now. The retrofits made her a totally awesome ship, but I might end up sticking Pamiot in there, even though she's not an Eagle Union ship. The evasion retrofit with the evasion buff makes her indestructible for a period of time, so she would be an excellent tank. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. But yeah, so I have San Diego, but Baltimore is going to be a staple to that because she's going to offer a buff to my carriers. So that makes things really good in that terms. So Georgia, excellent ship. Another good ship that you might want to focus on is St. Louis. St. Louis she does a ton of damage. That's what her forte is. But as you can see, she's nowhere near as powerful as some of the other ships. Okay, but she's a season 1 ship. And I'm pretty sure they had an event for her to get the actual items. So I went ahead and did her. I like St. Louis because she's a frontline ship. She's a Vanguard ship. I think if you look in the formations, I'm actually using her. Right here she is in the front line for my Union fleet. That's her. Okay. So she's a frontline ship, so she's not a backliner. So I'm just leveling her up right now. Going to get her up to 120. And I'll probably use her in some time in the future. If the French, if they ever, get serious about the Vichy French naval fleet, then I might, I have a nice ship for that. In that terms, I do have the other ships for the fleet. I'm just, of course, not focusing on them right now, simply because of the fact that there's really nothing. It's not a viable in-game fleet as of yet. It's close, but not quite there yet. But yeah, so I've been just running her here. So this is what I'll probably get. I'm going to replace Aurora, of course. I'm just leveling her up. I'm going to be putting Baltimore in there. Okay, San Diego will be here, and then I'll be sticking. I'm just leveling up Helena, but I'm probably going to stick Pomiat in here, and that'll be the in-game fleet that I'll be running. So I'll have a tank and Pomiat. Baltimore will be buffing the carriers, so all these carriers are going to get buffed because these are all Eagle Union carriers. And then I'll have San Diego so that no anti-air planes from the other bosses. 12 and 13, the bosses are carriers. Okay? So anything you want to have the best anti-air you can. Sandy's the best anti-air in the game, still is, once you've got it retrofitted. Which you could easily retrofit her now because her actual item is inside the shop now. So you no longer need to wait for the event to run it to actually get the actual, get it. It's right here, the sparkling microphone. This is Warspite's retrofit item too. So they're both here now. So you do not need to, wait for the events to come around and run them. They're here now. And you should be able to get these fairly easy. This is not something that's difficult to get. Just playing the game, you should be able to get them. So you definitely want to do Sandy, because San Diego is the best anti-air in the game. So that's what I put in for my anti-air. So that's, and since 12 and 13 are carriers, bosses are carriers, so you want to be doing as much damage as you possibly can. So it should be a pretty good in-game fleet. I'll probably be able to do 12 and 13 on auto. We'll have to see. Normally you have to manually do it, but we'll see. So that's what I was thinking in terms of St. Louis. So after that, what happened was I was thinking about. I was working on my Iron Blood fleet at the time because I got Rune, and Rune Yud came out, and then they came out with the set where they introduced and Prince Heinrich came out. I was really, I liked her a lot, so I started to put her in the front line. But then Mains, at the time I'd already started on Mains, because I started on her before Prince Heinrich came out, and then Prince Heinrich came out and stole the show. So I decided to not. So I went off of Mains, and I went back and started to focus on Azumo. Azumo is purely from a PvP standpoint. Okay. Once you get, she's got like 7,000 hit points, and she's just an excellent ship. And she's season 1 too, so you can really use her. So you definitely want to work on her too. But she's going to be my PvP. So she's got an S in firepower and an S in hit points. Okay, it makes her extremely tough. So she's going to be a PvP ship for me. So that's the reason I went to focus on her. The real PvP ship that you really want to end up looking for, and that you want to try to get if you possibly can, is of course right here, Azuma. Okay, Azuma is a frontline ship. She has like 7,000 hit points as well. Okay, so that's who I'm working on right now. I'm still working on this last one. So I've been working on. You got it. So she's IGN, so I got to run Sakura for her, but she's still under production, so it's going to be a while before she's ready. But that's where I'm at in terms of her. But yeah, so I switched over. I switched over from Mains and went over to wrong tab. I switched over from Mains and went over to Azuma. Finished Azuma, went back to Mains, and I just completed Mains recently. After I completed Mains, I went and put my thing back on Azuma. So that's where it's at right now. So that's about all of my priority ships in terms. So you've got FDG, got Monarch, got Rune, okay, St. Louis, Georgia, Mains, Azumo, and pretty soon we will have Azuma Fish, and she'll be a PvP. So that's all the priority ships that I have currently. Mains was the last one that I completed. It was easy because she's Iron Blood. But Mains has a shield, so if I get Mains fully set up, except she might end up replacing Rune U. So I'll be running, I think she frontline ship. I think she's a frontline ship. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's frontline. Yeah, she's frontline. So that's my go. All those, Prince Heinrich right here. As you can see, I went hard on Prince Heinrich, and got her leveled up to 120 pretty quick. So I run. So that would be, possibly what I'll be looking for in terms of that. So HMS fleets. This is the Ironblood fleet. So maybe replacing Rune U with Mains. Mains is not quite ready for prime time yet. I need to at least get one more star before I start focusing on that. But Rune U is doing excellent. I'm having no trouble with Rune U at all. If Mains doesn't work out, I'll gladly go back to Rune U. Got no problem whatsoever for that. So I brought in Tirpitz, Bismarck, FDG, Rune U, and Prince Heinrich. These decimate in Operation Siren. 14,299 on Vanguard, 14,749 in terms of the back line. So they do a ton of damage. There's just no doubt about it. Whenever you come up against any of this Operation Cyrus bosses that have the immunity or a modifier against carriers, you don't want to use carriers against them. You got to go battleships. These right here pretty much put out the most powerful. These are the most powerful battleships in the game. Okay. With Bismarck's buff, they're just ridiculous. So this fleet, has no problem whatsoever beating the bosses in Operation Siren. And once I get my, now this fleet's running pretty good too. I mean, I got Warspite retrofit, and Monarch. Unfortunately, Queen Elizabeth is a so again we've got capabilities back here as well too for Operation Siren, as well as a pretty tanky front line. This is Tito. I put her up there because she has pretty good. She ends up having pretty good anti-air. That's one of the things that I noticed about her. So I went ahead and stuck her in there to get. She replaced. So I've got Belfast, Javelin, and I've got her in there. What I was using, I did have Edinburgh in there before, but I felt like I needed a little bit more anti-air. So I'm working on getting Dito U up to set for that. This is the fleet that I use. This is a work in progress. I'm working on getting Essex and Intrepid leveled up, like I say, and then Helena, and I'll be putting Baltimore in here, San Diego over there. That'll be the end game fleet for the Enterprise ships. Sakura fleet, it's pretty much what I got. Teho U here. I just recently got the first Teho, not Teho U. So I'm working on her too. But then you got Nagato, of course, and Shinano, of course. No Shiro Yukikaze and Otago. So it's a pretty good fleet. It's as you can see, it's not quite as powerful as my Ironblood fleet. None of my fleets are quite as powerful as the Ironblood fleet, as you can see. In the end, it's just, it's a top tier fleet. So this is definitely my most powerful fleet at this time, even with priority ships. But I think once I put Mains in there, it might just be a little bit more powerful because Mains is a priority ship. This is her right here. I make her one of my secretaries. But yeah, so that's what I got in terms of priority ships. So I hope everybody's interested. And I'm currently working on Azuma, but she's purely for a PvP standpoint. As some people have said, I think she's got like 7,000 hit points, and she's a frontline ship. So she's in the Vanguard. Okay. As you know, the way PvP goes, your backline does not come under attack until your front line's gone. Well, I mean, your backline can be attacked, but if your front line's up, it's just, when the Vanguard goes down, the battle ends fast. So somebody's going to win pretty fast once the Vanguards go down. So as long as the Vanguard stays in the game, it takes a lot of the damage away from your backline. Okay, so it's just almost cheating to have a 7,000. I think it's like maybe even 9,000. I think 9,000 hit point tank on the front Vanguard. It's just ridiculous. So that's what I'm going for her in terms of that. And she will be a mainstay. I'm going to have a pretty good PvP fleet here in a couple of months once I start getting some of these ships up to speed. But yeah, it's just a matter of blueprints. You got to focus on this daily. Okay, if you're really serious about it, make sure that I run these. I check, make sure that you check these out all the time. Like right now, I'm running an FTG guaranteed blueprint drop. If this wasn't up, I would search for one that has an FTG blueprint in it, and that's the one I'd run. Every single research project that I run has a blueprint chance drop for FTG. Okay, so this one doesn't, so I would not run this one. I don't need Rune, and none of those priority 1 ships are what I'm focused on. I'm focused on this, so I'm hoping that they're going to open up the season 2 with those blueprint quest 2, so we get blueprints for them as well. That would be cool. Wait for that FTG 30 blueprints. I'll be jumping on that beastie boy pretty fast. And every event I purchase, as I did in this event, I think the shop's still up. Yeah. Right there. And I don't think I've cashed those in yet, so let's go ahead and cash those in. Nope, I have not. Max, assume to FTG. Confirm. That might take me up 1 point. That's the way you do it. You just, you just get the blueprint. You just, in every event, they always have, yeah, it's going to take up to 21. They always have these blueprints, 10 of them in every event. Pretty much every event shop that I've seen has them. So that's how I've gotten her as far as I have, is just constantly running research labs and always choosing the blueprints in there. That's my priority, okay? Even in this one right now, if I had unable to participate in this previous event, I probably and was not able to, and I would not been able to get both Kavala and the blueprints. I probably would have went for the blueprints over Kavala, even though that was probably not what I should have done, because Kavala is one of the best subs in the game. But that's just how hard I'm pushing getting FTG up to stuff. I'm starting to use her. She is completely usable right now. Okay, she still does. She's still, she's doing pretty good damage. And her skill sets, I've got her skills fully maxed out, and I've focused a lot on her equipment. Her equipment will be finished shortly. So yeah, so she's a good ship, and it just shows how good she is, and she's not quite actually completed yet. So she'll be much better once I get her completely done. But yeah, so that's where we're at in terms of blueprint. So I hope everybody understands. So that's my priority ship situation right now. Yeah, if you're just starting out, go for Monarch, Rune. There are 2 priority 1 ships, easy to get, and knock those out. If you're going to go to priority 2 into season 2, Georgia's a good example. Seattle's not too bad either. Okay, I would not focus on a PvP ship right now. Okay, you definitely want to, of course, continue limit breaking ships until you get enough faction points. FTG is the goal. Okay, she's what you want to get. She is the best ship in the game. It's not something that's completed quickly. It's a long-term project. It's been months for me. I'm still not finished. It's got to be months more. But I'll finish her eventually. I just keep making sure I run my research labs, make sure I get it, make sure I purchase the 10 blueprints each time there's an event, and eventually she'll get done. It could take a little while, but we'll get there. Once you get her up to 5-star, you can actually start utilizing her. She's effective. She's an excellent ship. So get her to 120 and get this many stars. You can start using her at this time. Okay, if you give her an excellent set of equipment and get those skills maxed out, you can use her. She's still quite powerful than most of the ships in the game at that point. So she's a good ship to use. Okay, she's got an excellent skill set. Okay, that's one of the reasons that she's so good. It's because of her skill set. She's got a pretty much a purely offensively enhanced skill set. These 2, this is support, the Rhapsody of Darkness. Okay, applies to the buff. Okay, firepower increases. Okay, so that's even damage based too, even though it's not technically a damage skill. And this right here increases the reload time and damage dealt. Okay, so as you can see, when the ship takes damage, or what a special barrage that ignites the enemy's. Yeah. Okay. Ignores enemy armor type. Okay. So she's purely offensively based. That's why she's the most powerful ship in the game. You know, she tears things down. That's what her job is. So definitely get her leveled up. But you got to get those faction points. You get faction points by limit breaking ships of that faction. So get your Ironblood fleet. They've got an excellent, as you can see, I just showed you. That's my most powerful fleet is my Ironblood fleet right now. So you definitely should not have any trouble at all making a good Ironblood fleet that you can use consistently, and you need to do that to run the experience that you need to make her. So even once you get the faction points, you're still going to have to run your Ironblood fleet for quite a long time to get the actual experience points that you need. I just created my fleet and just ran with it. Okay, that's the only thing you can do. You've got to get 1.2 million and then 2.4 million. Okay, so you've got to get 3.6 million experience. It's not something that can be done fast, but using an entire fleet made up of just Ironblood ships will make it much faster. Okay, so that's where we are at. I hope that's enough, and I hope that gives you an explanation on my priority ship setup. All right, so thanks a lot for watching. Remember to subscribe. Once you've subscribed, you will see a bell. If you click that bell, you get notified each time I do drop a video. I try to repost as many times. Try to do daily, but every now and then I do not post on a day, but pretty much mostly every other day I do. All right. Remember to like and share the video because that does help the views immensely. So this is Kenrick coming at you from the corner, signing out.